Shalom, good morning. First of all, I want to thank Kלכליסט for creating this conference and for hosting me. This is my 9th year as mayor, but my business career started at the late 80s, where my partners and I created security software, antivirus software, backup products. You may know of a small company called Checkpoint, which I chaired in its first 4 years of launching the company. And my skills, therefore, are identifying the next big thing and making it come true. As an investor, as an entrepreneur. 15 years ago, I decided to retire from my business career and focus my energy and my skills in the public sector in my city, Jerusalem. So what you're going to be seeing today is a result of methodological research and 9 years of hard work, the gateway to Jerusalem, a new business district that is going to change many of the trends in our city. With your permission, I'd like to share with you what we've done. I worked with an American professor called Michael Porter from Harvard Business School, focusing on identifying the core competitive advantages of the city of Jerusalem. I want to mention 2 of them. The first is the fact that Jerusalem is one of the most important brands in the world. 3,000 years of investment. Known to many people around the world. Actually, over 4 to 5 billion people around the world would like to come and visit Jerusalem at least once in their lifetime. And the challenge is how to capture that huge opportunity. While London has 60, New York has 50 million tourists a year, Rome has 40 million, Fakakta Cyprus has 10 million tourists a year, and Jerusalem, when we looked at it at the time, only had 2 million tourists a year. And I set a goal of reaching 10 million tourists a year. How do we do that? Well, we connect to our past, and in a minute I'll speak about our high tech that connects to our future. But when you look at our past, and I set a goal of 10 million tourists a year, you see our historical amazing sites. The city of David, the holy sites. You go into our archaeological sites, you see rich history where kings and prophets walked. And we've started marketing Jerusalem as a destination for pilgrims all over the world. Very tailored marketing and sales. And indeed, we see growth year after year. Today, we're more than double when we were 2 million tourists a year. Now we're at a run rate of 4 million tourists a year. And we will double and triple that number in the foreseeable future. But connecting to that past is key. Also, what we've learned from the Porter experience is clustering culture and tourism together. The Light Festival, one of the better brands we've associated with lately. Last year, 500,000 people came to Jerusalem in 10 days of the Light Festival. We've also seen Formula One Roadshow in the streets of Jerusalem, something that rebranded Jerusalem in the global marketplace and explained, wow, if you have a roadshow on the walls of the ancient city of Jerusalem, that means this city is normal. This is a city worthwhile visiting. Similarly, we have more than 5 times cultural events than we had a decade ago, and Jerusalem is going through a cultural revolution. That cultural revolution feeds tourism and is fed from it, and that cluster creates many opportunities for business people. This is the result. The market is reacting. The market understands that indeed there's growth. We have started less than a decade ago with 9,500 hotel rooms. We're currently at 12,500, and there are almost 5,000 hotel rooms in the pipeline to be built in the next 4 years. So the supply side is reacting to the demand side that it's growing, and we see the city scaling to its opportunity. 2,000 of those hotel rooms will be built in the gateway, which I'll share with you in a minute. We have another huge competitive advantage. It's called the Hebrew University, that is top 10 in the world in generic research in life sciences, computer science, and math. In the past, it was only a theoretical university that exported its talent around the globe and to the center of the country. What we've been doing in the last 9 years is creating an ecosystem that helps young entrepreneurs open up shop in the city. We grew in the last 4 years from 250 to 600 startups, and that trend continues on. Actually, when you look at independent research, Time magazine defined Jerusalem as one of the top 5 emerging tech hub cities in the world. The number of employees in our city jumped from 14,000 to 18,000 through the years 15 and 16, which is 26% growth. 26% growth in 2 years. The average in Israel is 8% growth in those 2 years. So Jerusalem is gaining market share in a rapid pace relative to itself, relative to Israel, and of course, relative to the world. We've climbed to 35th position as an industry in the world in 2015. 2016, we went up the ranks to 25th position. And this is before the acquisition of Mobileye, a Jerusalem-based company that was acquired for $15 billion by Intel. Interestingly enough, when you look at the R&D centers mentioned earlier, Cisco has the largest video research center in the world in Jerusalem. Now so does Intel, so does Orcam, and so does Lightrix and a few other companies in the space of computer science and picture imaging, but also in health life sciences. The market share of Jerusalem is probably by far the largest in the country and growing very, very rapidly. I'm mentioning this because we worked very hard on creating the demand side, working the demand side in the city through the 2 economic drivers, culture and tourism one, high tech is the other. Now our job is to work on the supply side, and that's exactly where the gateway to Jerusalem comes in. The gateway to Jerusalem is the place we're enabling those startups, those companies to scale in probably the best location in the country. The gateway to Jerusalem is sitting on a transportation hub, the biggest of its kind. When you exit the fast train from Tel Aviv, which is 30 minutes from Jerusalem, you exit and you're going to be the center of the new business district. 2 light rail lines and a central bus station make that hub, transportation hub, the most accessible place in the country to date. We're working on that hub. Parts of it is in the process. The investments of the Israeli government, just on the transportation network, light rail lines, and a network of cable cars connecting ancient Jerusalem to the light rail lines, is over 30 billion shekel investment, committed and worked on. And this is something that we're very, very proud, because we look into the future at the next big thing and know that that hub will supply an amazing amount of opportunities for investors in all of the demand side I mentioned earlier. So we're talking about a business district of 1.6 million square meters of office space. For the Israelis here, we're talking about 7 times larger than the Azrieli Center in Tel Aviv. For the British here in the room, it's just as big, probably a little bit bigger than Canary Wharf, just to give you some perspective. And that is a real game changer in the future of our city. So you have underneath your chair a little bit of information about the gateway. Just this week, there was an announcement of 2 private towers, 2 of the 24 towers that we're building in the gateway to Jerusalem. Were just bought and acquired by some of the biggest real estate companies of Israel, and they're going to be investing over $500 million shekels in creating 2 of those towers. It was announced yesterday, if I'm not mistaken. And we will be bidding some of the public pieces to private real estate companies as early as this year. The infrastructure on the project is well undergoing. We've been digging over the last year and a half the infrastructure underneath for the public side, and there's no doubt in my mind that this will change the way people view the city of Jerusalem. So take a look at it. You're welcome. Come and invest in our city. We have a lot to offer. I want to wish us all Happy New Year, Shana Tova, and there's a very famous blessing in the Jewish tradition, Leshana Haba'a B'Yerushalayim Habnuya. May we all see you next year in Jerusalem. Thank you very much.